I like flowers, but then I moved them. But I really am a flower girl.
Oh, put the flowers there.
Okay, okay, good,
Definitely.
good, good, good.
Definitely.
I was like, I don't know how. I'm like, I'm versatile. I'm like, if I gotta dance, I got my shoes off. If I gotta look good, I'll put my.
You're
If I
looking great.
put my things on. But
I like where your head is now.
tell me.
Come closer.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want there to be about this much space between the top of, yeah. Yeah, okay. Let's see.
Not too much.
Little high. Okay, there. Little higher. Yeah, too high. Wait, right there. Right there. That's great. You're perfect.
Okay.
Sitting right perfect. I move my head around all the time, but it's never right. But I know what
Listen.
it's supposed to be. Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm putting my glasses on just so I could see me through this little thing, but you have much better perspective on what you see.
Oh, you look perfect. It's
appropriate for, as far as background. I know sometimes with blue lighting, or I've done some NBC stuff and you cannot wear certain colors and they have some background. So I wasn't sure.
okay.
But tell me and we will adjust.
So right now we're recording, and I
Okay.
just want you to know that a part of what we're doing right now is actually going to be on the episode. Like this stuff right here, it's like I always start off like that.
With the blur.
Yeah, with that, it's like it's cool. It works, People want to know who are you in real person as a real person, right?
Oh, yes.
And so now I could say, Carolina, we're getting ready to start the show. So welcome everyone to Elevate Today with Chris Thompkins. I'm your host, Chris Thompkins, and our special guest today is Carolina Ferrer. Ferrer. Say it for me. Say it.
Ferrer. Carolina.
Ferrer.
I'm gonna go Latino on here now.
Yes.
Carolina Ferrer.
Oh, and roll the R's. That's it. Roll the R's. I knew there was a rolling there. I went on YouTube and it said that Ferrer is French and gave me the French pronunciation. And I said, no, this is not right. This is not a Spanish. This is a Spanish last name. I need to understand how to roll those R's.
Yes, yes.
Carolina,
I hear you.
Thank you so much. I would love to ask you now to introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from. Tell us what you're doing. Tell us everything you want to tell us.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Chris, for this opportunity. I am humbled to be here with you and the listeners and the viewers. My name is Carolina Ferrer. I am a licensed clinical social worker by trade, career-wise, and have been for 20 something years. And a social worker at heart. I can tell you I am human first, a very flawed human, that loves hard, that wants to do better every day, and that truly wants to make a difference in the world, with anybody that I come across. And so there's so much depth to when you ask that question, introduce yourself, because I can think of all the identities that play for me, and I really have aligned with God and the Father to see what it is that He wants me to deliver and get out of the way to make impact with the words that come out of my mouth. Because I truly believe that this is a great opportunity for me as a person, as an individual, and to get to talk to you, Chris, and meet amazing people that I may not know. But I always want to leave people with something that ministers to their heart or makes impact or change. And I never want just words and all this blah, blah, blah attached to the titles that I possess, but really a human to human interaction, as a woman, as a friend, and as so many things that truly I play in this world that I'm part of.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction of who you are as a human being. Where were you born and raised?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So humble beginning. So we want to start at the beginning, right, of Carolina.
Okay.
So I was born in Pereira, Colombia.
Hmm.
I was born to two amazing human beings, Jose Parra y Maria Amparo Parra.
Mm.
I still kept the double R's, Ferrer and Barra, FYI. I was born in Colombia, South America, not North Carolina, because some people are like, North Carolina, so I gotta like clarify that, you know.
Okay.
So South America and a small little town called Pereira. And I was born, I was gonna say, should I say my age? But it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I'm 38 years old. I'm gonna be 39, and I'm glad to be on this earth. So truly, that just adds to who I am and the character of my heart. Um, so I was born in Colombia, raised in Colombia. When I was 10 years old, my family actually had petitioned for my aunt, my mom's sister, had petitioned for us to come to the United States. So growing up as a little girl from probably 0 to 9 years old, I'm sorry, I was always told that we are coming to the United States, that we were
Oh,
coming
wow.
to America.
Okay.
America meant, as a little girl with no understanding of what that meant, was that we were not attached to the roots of Colombia, as far as we were not going to be here. We were in passing. And my parents wanted us to come to the United States.
Mhm.
Back in the 80s, if anybody knows, there was a big Colombian cartel
Mm.
with drugs and violence and a
Mm.
lot of different things. And ultimately, at that time, my parents wanted my brother and I to have probably a better future than what they could give us at that moment, at that time. So that's kind of that's a little bit of my where I come from,
Yeah.
small town of Pereira.
Yeah.
Two people that love God and love others, and I have an older brother that's 5 years older than me, Mauricio Parra, and he's also, so we came here to the
Yeah.
United States. I don't know if you want me to continue, if you want to
Well,
have any.
let's just say this. I want to know because we're going to dive deep into us a lot of things that you do because the way I spoke about you today is that you are this amazing woman who absolutely cares about other people and has created a movement through business
Yes.
in doing so. So
Oh,
I want us to get to that, but I
yes.
wanted to know for our listeners and viewers, like, where are you from? Because you come from humble beginnings and then you came to this country
Hmm.
and you decided to do something.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable. So if you want to like fast forward us to
Yes. Yes.
today, that would be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think my humble beginnings ultimately are a connection of who I am today, right? As a person, as a professional. I think I never knew that I was a social worker
Okay.
or a clinician as a little girl. I just was exposed to a lot of hard things of life, right? Violence and growing up. My mom was 40 when she had me, so probably an adultified child, you know, of responsibility and taking care of things. So, you know, I say that because when I came to the United States, I was the first one at 10 years old to understand the English language.
Okay.
Because I picked up English as a, you know, very quickly. Obviously, when you're
Mm-hmm.
younger, languages, you know, from school or whatever.
Yeah.
So the catalyst of the change was, you know, coming to this country, right? Not knowing the language and being the helper for my family as a first immigrant. So, and then first generation to be able to speak the language
Yeah.
and understand culture and dynamics and systems. So, you know, I say that because I truly believe that who I am today is a full picture. When you're walking through hard things in life, you truly don't understand why. Why is this so hard? Why, you know, why are we in poverty? Why, you know, did we come to this country? I don't, everybody painted this country to be all these things, and I don't even speak the language. I don't understand, right? Like as a kid, you don't know any of this stuff. It was the promised land. And we came with a backpack, the four of us. We came with
Mm.
nothing. Like we literally came with nothing, a backpack, and this is where we were going to start. So I say that because I truly believe today, as a licensed clinical social worker, way fast forward, who I am there's people that have textbook knowledge. There's people that go to school and have a degree because of what they read, because they have the credentials attached. I truly believe that my life is a life of servitude. And as a humble leader, from even early on when I didn't understand, right, of coming to this country, helping my parents understand the language, learn how to pay bills, learn like the systems of what adults do. At 10 years old, I was that child that would my parents would take to the bank, take to do things because I was their mouthpiece.
Right.
I truly could have had a different outcome if I did not have, I think, the motor in my heart to want to improve and do better and prove my parents like, listen, you sacrifice and we're here and I want to make you proud.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know the language. So I could have skipped school. I could have gotten pregnant early on. I could have been, my life could have been totally different, but there was something of purpose. And I think prayer and a purpose that my parents did not have financial means, but they loved us. And if we had one egg to split, we would split that egg in four. So I truly believe that like the social worker in me, looking back now, hindsight vision, right? It's
Hmm.
always 2020. You're like,
Right.
it sucks when you're in it. It's painful when you're in it. You don't understand why life could be so hard when you sometimes do comparisons around you. And mind you, we didn't even have social media at that time to even go
Mm.
through the levels of what people do right now. But I can tell you that that is the heartbeat of who I am.
Mm.
That humble beginnings, I've taken that on as an opportunity to do better and to say, what can I do with all of this experience? Either I could be a victim or I could be like self-destructive, right? And be like, why me? Why me? Why is life so hard? Why do I have to be the one to help my parents? My parents should do this on their own. My brother's older than me. Why doesn't he do it? He
Mm.
he should do that. But for whatever reason, some systems in childhood or you just become parentified. I don't know. My brother was a little
Yes.
crazier and wilder. So he probably was like, I'm doing that. He was 15. He was also a teenager. I was a little
Right.
bit more
Right.
moldable. So he was like really experiencing life. And that's potentially why he couldn't or didn't. But I
Sure.
say that social work is truly like almost who I am. It is my story, not
It
just because
sounds
I
that
have
way.
the titles. Yeah.
It sounds like your family is, not only are your beginnings humble, but they're just embraced in love.
Yes.
Like that's all I kept feeling is there's so much love here,
Yes.
right? The parental love, the sibling love, everything is just love. The love for your mom and your dad, the love to make sure, we're going to get through this. We're going to do this. And I'm not giving up. And,
Right.
and wow, Carolina,
Yeah.
it's
Resiliency, I think.
yes, yes. But
Resiliency and hope that
yes,
it has to get better, right? It has to get better
yes,
if we just keep going.
right. And then you went to college.
Right, right,
You
right. So I graduate high school. I do a dual, meaning like I'm getting my, I excel in school. I ultimately, my one thing that my mom always said was go to school, become somebody, right? So I heard that early on, like go to school, become somebody. Here I am cleaning toilets and doing these things. I don't want you to do that because my parents,
mm,
and that's what they had to do. Like they did housekeeping at the Edison Mall in
right.
Fort Myers, and they were like, you need to go to school. So I was like, how am I going to go to school? My parents don't even can't afford. They got paid $4.50 at the mall per hour,
Right.
$9 for four people back in 95. So like I don't even know how they did it, right? But they did it. God always provided. So anyway, so I was like, how am I going to go to school? All of these things. I started with English as a second language. Ultimately, school was my safe place because I really excelled. I think I have some really good teachers and people that
Mm,
invested in me and were like, keep going, girl. Like, you got this. And
mhm,
I had to work really hard because when English is your second language, when you first come, you think in Spanish and then you have to
mm,
learn to maneuver all of the things. So, I get this opportunity at 17 to meet my husband, David. He's eight
okay.
years older than me. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was an old soul. I was 17, but probably had like lived as a
Yeah.
25-year-old with all of paying bills and knowing how to do, you know. So anyways, I was going to school, high school, and I was doing like my associate's degree.
Okay.
It was like dual. I don't know why I'm blanking out on the word, but
Don't
you see,
worries. No
English and
worries.
Spanish, one of those things. So I
Yeah.
was doing English, I was doing classes to finish, like to start my associate's degree. And I really wanted to excel in school.
Mm,
That was like, I guess the ticket of what I always heard. Now I didn't have the money to do it, but I
mm.
knew that through scholarships, through like different avenues,
Right.
there was some way first generation. So I talked a lot. I was like, how do I get to this? And people, I truly believe that my personality would be like, how am I going to do this? And I would go and talk to the advisors, like, I got no money, but I really want to become somebody. I don't even know what I want to become, but like, can you help me? Like, what is there money out there? Like, or do I get loans?
Yes.
Because I can't go to
Yes.
my parents to be like, yo, what do you do? They brought me here. That's like the
Yeah.
best they could and loved me, which was a whole lot
Yeah.
foundation. But
Yeah.
the next things was like, you want to succeed, you better go after it. So I really believe that it was just open door after open door, not easy. Like sounds good right now, right? But it was like probably opposition after opposition, and you just keep persevering. I was
Okay,
in
stop
debt.
right. Stop, stop, stop. We got to highlight this for a second. I mean, I want to highlight something I'm hearing. I'm hearing. First of all, you never gave up. You kept moving. You said it, my parents brought me here, but this here is up to me now. And
Yes.
you were like, okay, I like to talk, but you went everywhere to counselors and to everyone and said, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do something. And what
Mm-hmm.
is there for how help me make this happen? Help me figure this
Right.
out. So you didn't like it's almost like, no man is an island, right? There's we interact with each other and we're not understanding the power of that sometimes, I believe.
Yeah.
And you
Togetherness,
just
community. Yeah.
demonstrated this at 17 years old. And
Yeah.
and really at 9 and 10 years old, but at 17, you were saying, I got the reins. This is my life.
Yeah.
Let me figure it out some kind of way because I don't really know what I want to do, but I got to do something. And mom said, you
Yeah,
must
and
become
mom
something.
said, right? And the power of words, I
Mm,
truly believe that, words can either break us down as children. And obviously, I don't want to
mm,
go into the full psychology of this, but I have to at this point. When people believe in you and people call you to places that you don't even know you could be, you have that power to do that. Or it could work the opposite. If self-destructive words is something that you have heard, sometimes it's very difficult for the mind to believe that they can.
mm-hmm.
I think faith was a really powerful vehicle because my dad doesn't even speak English, drive, read, or write. Okay.
Wow. Wow.
You talk about, and I didn't fully know that. My mom was an engineer at a bank in Colombia for 30 years. So she left a high position job managing and doing these things for us. So
To clean
totally
toilets. To clean
yes. And
toilets.
and she cleaned well, and she cleaned toilets here in the
That's
United
what I
States.
mean. She
Yeah.
left that and came here to make
Yeah.
sure you had it better and clean toilets. That is love.
Yeah. Beyond. Beyond. I
Yes.
mean, when I tell you, I would remember her being so embarrassed. Like she's like, so this is a Colombian thing. If anybody's there, Colombian, they will understand. We got to put our lipstick on. Like we do not, we may be broke, but let me tell you, our lipstick gotta be on. But I remember my mom's like, can't even put lipstick doing this job because there was some level of pride, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
here
Mm-hmm.
she was, top of her game, probably 30 years invested in a bank. Numbers, I don't know that I don't have that brain. I have a different brain.
Right.
But numbers, and back then they used to do numbers through, I don't know, like tally it up like actual books, not like how they do, stuff here, accounting. But anyway, so I even say that, my gosh, the love that I received, there was maybe not a lot of monetary, but that love, and I truly believe that love has the power to heal us and get us to a different level. Or love also can self-destroy us when it's hard or it's broken or it's
Mm-hmm.
painful. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
both of those things I'm learning in this season of my life could work at the same time. It's like there's no failure. without success, and there's no success without failure. We
Hmm.
sometimes believe that success is one thing, but yet I could tell you my life now at this point, you would have told me that I wouldn't have believed it, was the catalyst of change, of failure after failure. But then, boom, I would get one success and that would move me forward.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what happened in college. I applied for all these scholarships. I
Hmm.
did all these things. And then, I got a full ride to get my bachelor's degree.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then in my master's degree, I was able to, I think I had to take a loan out because I couldn't find anything else at that time.
Hmm.
So I like, I probably still paying $5,000 something that I got to pay, but I'm fully still paying my stuff, with my master's degree. And then
Right.
I license and I'm a qualified supervisor. I actually just paid my licensure stuff to the state because you got to
Okay.
renew that. So it's like never ending, right? But I say that because I truly do believe that people think success is such an arrival. Oh no, it is such a process of 99
Mm.
steps. And they look
Mhm.
very different for different people and different seasons. And you just got to push through. And
Mhm.
you sometimes have to cry and let it out and be angry and let all your shit out until you're like, okay, I had my temper tantrum.
Yeah.
What else is next? Because
Yeah.
if this is the bottom, I can only go higher.
There
Is
you go.
actually my motto.
Okay. Okay. And so you were working for an organization,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
way I described it based on a brief conversation we had that was beautiful, by the way, is
Yeah.
that you wanted to offer something that wasn't being offered. I don't know if that's
Mhm.
the correct thing to say,
Yeah. Yeah.
but and you took a chance and went out on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know another woman that knows you who told me a lot about you and
Oh,
what you do. And you've created a nonprofit or a
uh-huh.
foundation of sorts.
Yes. Yes.
And this hit my heart. You go to the people through that nonprofit or foundation that you've created, and connect with everyday people, and you bring hope to communities.
Yes.
And
Yes.
even the name of your business, Carolina's Compassionate Counseling, like
Mm-hmm.
to have compassionate in your name
Mm-hmm.
right there
Mm-hmm.
speaks volumes. I want you to talk about your why you created, what was the change, what happened that made you move into your business and
Mm-hmm.
then do the work that you do.
Yeah. So, um, so, so as a social worker, I worked 5 years in like a nonprofit work, so community-based social work, doing working with at-risk youth,
Okay.
substance abuse, and I
Mm,
worked at the Department of Juvenile Justice doing family therapy and kids that were
mm,
truant and ungovernable. I've always had a passion, truly, for all the things that for the underdog. That's the
yeah.
bottom line. The things that other people don't want to do or like to do in social work, or like, oh, I wanted to be a therapist. If you would have told me I was going to just be a therapist and have this, I would have been like, heck no, I am community hands-on. I like to look cute, but if I have to throw down and take my shoes off and be hippie, that is also me. You know what I mean? I have no problem being able to do that. But the 5 years, so when I started social work, was doing that. And then I did 5 years with dialysis patients and medical. I had a very special love for the medical
Mm,
team, and just I wanted to try that. So I worked with dialysis patient, and if anybody knows about dialysis, it's life-sustaining treatment. There is no cure for this. So it's 3 days a week, um, where people are getting their blood cleansed out and their kidneys are being filtered. So it is like these people want to live,
yeah.
because if they don't come, they are not going to survive. So that I think everything has been a stepping stone. Like I said, you don't arrive here. There's been many steps, right? So I did that population, and I created a program there for with
Mm.
the Kidney Foundation of Florida, of doing kidney walks for people that did not have transportation, that couldn't meet their co-pays. So this really is like the linkage, because I started doing it for the clinics, which I'm still like, these doctors, these nephrologists, they actually came to my grand opening, and we still are in connection. This is a small, tight community that when you love and you do give back, you have good relationships, and people kind of remember the work that you do, which is, to me, serves my heart. So anyways, I created and I partnered with these things to get this kidney walk, and
Mhm.
we did it. We did it for like 4 years while I was there, and we raised money and all this stuff for co-payments. And I truly believe I worked with the transplant center in Tampa and Miami and all of these things. So I started building my career around access and talking and saying, at what level can I reach and help more people, right? And so that's kind of started with that dialysis clinic experience as a nephrology social worker.
Mhm.
And then ultimately, I worked at the hospital at the Galzano Children's Hospital here in Southwest Florida. And I worked as a social worker in pediatric intensive care unit, and the NICU, which is neonatal intensive care unit, where babies are born premature or addicted to substances, heroin, all of these things, or, they're, premature, or there's have some terminal
Mm.
illness, right? And I worked with their
Sure.
parents. And I worked with moms that were birthing, so OB floor. So I did that for 7 years. So, and out of those needs, you never know that all these things are working out for others. But then you get the realization of, oh my God, if I have done this for other people, big organizations, and I have found needs and have helped them and have said, why not? 2020 hit, and I was able to pause. I'm an adrenaline type of junkie where I love to serve and I don't like to be still, and I like to, so that ICU worked for me because I was like, nonstop here, there, everywhere, getting paged and called and meeting with people. 2020 was when I paused. And actually, once you were exposed to a patient, you had to be out of the hospital for 2 weeks. So that was like probably the first time in a while that from a professional and personal glance, I paused to
Okay.
say, like, God, what do you have for me? Or what is it that's here in my heart that is birthing after COVID? And I truly believe a lot of people that got the chance to pause and reevaluate life and go, what, like, we could die, we could all die, and this is it. Like, what do you mean? No, 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 no. I really believe that trauma for some people still today, really caused them a lot of mental health
Mm.
concerns and isolation. But for anybody else that use that level of pain of isolation and pausing, the birthing that came out of just being still and creative powers was the alignment of my practice, which is peace in your mind, balance in your body, healing in your spirit.
Wow.
Yeah. Peace in your mind, right? So mental health, balance in your body. Let's honor the body because this is the temple that carries us, right? And we got to honor it with what we eat, what we drink, how do we take care of it, right? And then our spirits,
Mm.
people either believe in God or believe in whatever else, but like, have faith or believe in some level of alignment. But spiritually, there's three in one for us. And sometimes
Yes.
we're disconnected when we don't do these pausing. And that's kind of how my private practice started in 2020. And the interesting part is I had a lot of imposter syndrome. So even with the delivery of like all of this great vision, because I wouldn't have just come up with that, right? Like, woo, what all the mission and the vision of a practice, it came 2 years later. So this is what I'm saying, the importance of processing.
Mm.
People think that we arrive the next day because we've received the word or because we believe something or because somebody has
Mhm.
spoken some potential in us. It took me 2 years to fully leave the hospital, A, because I was attached to the comfort level of
Mhm.
a paycheck,
Yes.
benefits,
Yes.
401k. I knew what every Friday my paycheck would look like, and I knew that that was easy. And I knew that I had all these people that I impacted and loved,
Yes.
and why not? Until my body and my mind and my spirit, when I went back, kept saying, mm-mm, mm-mm, nope,
Mm,
I've given you something. So it started becoming uncomfortable.
mm.
And on the uncomfortableness is the only time where the bird really grows and flies.
Say that
I,
again. Say that again. That is golden. Say that
yeah,
again. Yes.
you know, in the uncomfortableness of life,
Mm,
in us being tired of being tired of being tired of the same thing, do we really come a crossroads where we either stay the course
mhm.
and which is called insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result,
Yeah.
or we take a shift and going, okay, my time is up here. I
Mm,
have done what I could. All of these alignments are not flowing as much as I thought they were flowing. And then you really actually stop and take inventory to realize, oh, that's why that was spoken. And I just keep avoiding the
mm,
move because I'm comfort,
mm,
because I like stability, and because,
mm.
AKA, my early history, right? If you go
Right.
back,
Right.
is stable. Like my parents already shifted and brought me here. This is probably the best that I'm going to have. Being
Right.
working at a hospital and having this title and having this position. My parents would have probably said, you've arrived, you're good, you have a
Mm,
position in a good place. Done. But that was not the only thing that I wanted to do or that I was called to do because I still fought it, right? So two
yeah.
years later, I'm working. I'm trying to shift part time. I start with an office space. Okay. Humble beginnings again, humble. Like, everybody's like, oh, I have the $1 million house. No, my husband he's a contractor. So he has like space, an extra space in his office with his partners. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to try this off. I'm going to see if I can really make this. Because if I could really make this and I can prove to myself and prove to you and prove to the world that I can, because I'm still don't believe that I can, which is
Mm.
the thing that people ignore and think that you're supposed to have it all together or that it all supposed to align right away. And you forget that you just got to start. Whatever you got to start, if it's crawling, if it's moving,
Say that one again. You just have to start.
you just have to start.
Yes.
You just have to listen to your heart, listen
Mhm,
to your spirit, listen to your mind, listen to the alignment that is happening in your body. Because
mhm,
sometimes our body tells us we're done with this place or we're done in
mhm,
this season, but
mhm,
we don't want to do it because sometimes it's trauma. Sometimes it's the things of our
mhm,
past that make us believe, honey, you're good. This is the best you're gonna get, right? And why? Why more? So
mhm.
there's that whole thing. So 2 years, right? I start in this office, and I took over another office. I got an intern from FGCU. I love leadership. Like I could not really be by myself doing this. I am like community based. I am like, yo, what you doing? I get bored easily. I can't be a therapist alone. I'm just saying. I was like, who are my people? Because I can't hire anybody because I'm cleaning the toilets on that side. I'm paying the rent on this side. I'm doing my notes. But I need somebody else. I need a leader. I need like somebody I can mold if I really believe in this. So I went to FGCU and I was a qualified supervisor and I took a student in.
Okay.
And this girl's still with me.
All right.
Um, so listen to this. I mean, fun things that you're like, take all these things. So I'm like, how the heck? I'm borrowing an office space, but I'm going to take on a
Yeah.
student. And I don't even have policies and procedures because I'm the policy and procedure. I'm the one that says the ins and the outs. There's
Yes,
nobody
yes.
else. It's me, myself, and I, right?
Right, right.
So, and then humble beginnings, right? And
Yeah.
then, so I was like, well, I could do this, not a big deal. Mind you, this person grew with me and she's still in my practice. I left the hospital
Mhm,
finally because it was that season of my life changed and it was quite uncomfortable and I would never bash anybody. But that season was very, very clear. The
Mm.
doctors did not want to let me go. They wrote something for my department, like, she please work whatever, but they decreased my pay. Like,
Oh,
talk about,
wow.
you do all these things, right? And that happens. So moving forward, I created the practice, and then just September of this year did
Hmm.
I open up on my own. And there's five of us in the practice total. And in September of last year, as I was building the private practice, ultimately, I have the different contracts with Heart of Adoptions. Obviously, I have a special love
Wow.
for maternal mental health. So women that adopt their children out for different reasons, either rape or they financially can't do it, or they don't want the
Hmm.
child, but they want to bless the child with somebody else. So I have those contracts, and I have a contract with City Gate, which is my community church.
Hmm.
And there was this family that lost their son um, out of ATV accident. He was 6 years old. And so the church had paid for X amount of sessions, and that was it. Well, he was an electrician. He was the breadwinner. She was a stay-at-home mom and had another child. They could not function after the death of this child. I mean, it was
Mm.
accident,
Mm.
unexpected.
Yeah.
And I could not turn my face. From a private practice perspective, you're a business owner. So it's fee to service, right? Like I have to charge in order to keep my building, my electricity, my water, all of the
Yeah.
overhead. But what do I do, right? What do I do? Because I have a family, and normally I would say, okay, let me send them to a community-based agency that can provide them other services. But my heart shifted in seeing this man, the father, and he was so heartbroken. He could not get out of bed. He could not get, I mean, he would just come see me sometimes. And I'm like, when was the last time you showered? And like all of these things where I would
Mm.
have food for them, and like just, social work is like a thing of heart, that what I
Yeah.
say is feed the body so then people can really hear what you got to say. But because if somebody's hungry, like truly, what are they going to listen to? So I would meet them just in those sessions. The church paid X
Mm.
amount. And I said, I have to give hope to this man that is so hopeless. I mean, we
Mm.
talk about suicidality. We talk about like when you are like, I don't even want to live.
Mm.
And that in many cases, is what I see every day in and day out. There is not always just pretty what I do and making change, because
Right.
change is very painful. And sometimes the mind goes very sick and alone when we're in pain, and
Yeah.
we're grieving. So I created the nonprofit. Truly, that was in honor of Cameron, is his name. And when I said I'm gonna do this grand opening, right? So I have a private practice. I just opened up, 1,100 square feet space where they remodeled. My husband's business helped me remodel it, and I was
Hmm.
gonna have access to all these amazing people, right, from the community. The mayor was here, the
Oh,
news was
right.
here. These really big people. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to glorify the fact that I have this. But what is the purpose behind what I'm doing? And I check my heart. I pause and I check my heart
Mm.
with anything I say and do. Is it vanity? Is it about me? Or is this really to serve others? So
Wow.
it's very important that we check our hearts, because sometimes we may say the right things and we may do the right things, but is the posture of our heart in the right direction, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Really, it was a celebration. Like 40 years of me battling. My whole life has been a battle to even arrive and do this and believe in this. But I truly believe that even with that access is what opportunity. And I don't know if it's God divine or my flesh, but it was like, what are you going to do with this? So
Hmm.
you have this family. You're going to have access to all of these people. I'm making money. I'm doing good. I've served over 600 patients.
Hmm.
Financially, we take insurance, cash, all of this. But what are you doing? What are you doing? And I paused again in that session because it created a shift. And I
Mm.
don't know, it's God divine or whatever it is when sometimes I meet with my people because I can't explain it. And I really believe that that was a catalyst for this man to change his life and change and live and live.
Mm.
because
Mm.
I saw the look on his face when I said, you know what, I'm doing a grand opening. And I don't know why my heart keeps saying this to you, but let's keep hoping because let's get some funds for people like you that potentially lose their insurance. You can't even work, blah, blah, blah. What would that look like if I created, actually, I said, what do I do? What do I do if I get some funds because I at that point I didn't know anything about a nonprofit. I just thought, how am I going to get money to people that are in my practice and then have some bad stuff happen to them and then can't afford it? Most people terminate and are done and transfer them out. My heart couldn't. I could not be that person. Now, nothing wrong with clinicians that do that. I get it. It happens. I would
Right.
say that's part of business.
Yeah.
My heart couldn't do it, which is why then when I started getting funds and all these things, oh, I have to create a nonprofit to be able to create revenue and people for that are unable to afford it, are undocumented, don't have a job, and need to seek quality care therapy, not just for the mind, but mind, body, and soul, because I have a very unique practice of how
Hmm.
I do therapy. And it really is client centered. So every specific therapeutic session meets the client where they're at. Sometimes we're dancing, sometimes we're doing movement, sometimes, we're doing journaling, sometimes they're crying, sometimes I mean, every one of those therapeutic sessions, I believe, meets them where they're at. And that's how really the nonprofit developed, not
Okay,
with any of
so
those things, but
I'm
just
I
heart.
just heard something that made my head tilt. You said dancing, journaling. I have a very different type of practice. It's very
Art.
unique. Art. Are you okay? Do you want to talk about that at all? Like why did you bring all those things together and make that part of how you were going to do your practice? Because that's not traditional.
No,
Right?
no, no, no. Most people sit down, you have an assessment, you ask about history and background, you do a psychosocial assessment, trauma, create a treatment plan goals, and boom, your session is over. That's where I came from, right? And I said, that can only get us so much.
Mm.
And that's important. We need to have a blueprint. When I teach the girls, because obviously I have students from FGCU currently in my practice, and
Yeah.
licensed students. I tell them you gotta have your blueprint, right? You need to know basics, demographics, da 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 da. But then pause for a second and ask what helps them, what encourages them, how have they been resilient,
Mm.
what has worked for them. Sometimes it would be very interesting of what naturally people do that you can partner with that sounds to them so silly. I sing a song, I write, I journal, I do poetry, I have to move my body. And I truly believe that all of us are equipped with everything that we need for this journey. What
Mhm.
happens is the entanglements of life, the weight, we're trying to untangle all of the things that took away the creative powers of solutions that live inside of us
Mm.
because of the heaviness of life.
Mm.
And sometimes in a therapeutic session is probably the only time that people sit and actually are like, oh, wait, I'm talking about me, or I get to talk about my inner child, or this is like, I don't know, not just a complaint session, but like I challenge them. And not all my people like me at the beginning, I promise you. I'm like, I am not for everybody. And the people know. Sometimes you're like, some days I don't want to go to therapy because you challenge me to like go deeper. And I don't want to see myself in the mirror. And I go, okay, well, I don't like my therapist sometimes. And I don't
Wow.
like to lift hard weight either. But muscle only grows through pain and uncomfortableness.
Mm. Mm. Is that sort of like the truth will set you free?
Yeah, like cut the BS and get to the bottom of it. Do we want to stay victims? Because I know I could be a victim and I have the title to be able to say, you know what? I was dealt many different cards, and you and I would be okay. They would say, you're right. But what does that leave me? There?
Okay.
Or and there were seasons of my life I needed somebody to allow me to be victim and allow me to say, damn, girl, that was not fair for you. And I
Right.
needed that. I needed
Right.
somebody to, you know, be there and cry with me and understand that, like, man, life was hard.
Yeah.
I needed that. That serves everybody needs that village. But then after unpacking, you realize,
You can't stay there.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, no, it's seasons. Seasons come, seasons go. Winter, fall, spring. That winter season of my life, and I've had plenty of them. My mom passing away back in when I was 22 years old,
Mm.
as I finished my master's degree.
Wow.
I truly believe that she was like the catalyst of of how I made it through, and then even continued. Because pain and suffering either can really crush you and make you bitter, or once you heal through grief and a lot of one-on-ones, you know,
Hmm.
with the higher power, can you really go, I guess if that was your will, what am I going to do?
Mm.
Can't change that.
Yeah.
Can't change that. That's what part of my story is. I thought part of my story was just arriving here, having to make it, having to do
Mm.
this, but there was more. So I have learned to use pain and grief, which is part of the heart of my specialty is grief,
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
PTSD, is you know, postpartum maternal mental health, because I went through that as well, having a
Hmm.
child, I had fertility issues and tried for a long time to have a child. I probably could have an 18-year-old child right now, and
Mm.
didn't. That wasn't part of my story either. I fought to become a mom. On top of that, I had to do fertility treatment, IVF. And then you would think, okay, that was still part of her story to be a professional, to do this, to do that. And then even after that, my child comes during a hurricane. My water breaks. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm telling you, I seriously need to write the book. My water breaks during when I'm taking shelter at the hospital, and then
Okay.
she's in the NICU where I served as a social worker. That was
Oh,
always the
wow.
joke. When you're pregnant, make sure you keep that baby in because of bariatric, you know, pressure. And then I become humbled, the patient. And my child was born at 34 weeks in ICU for 3 weeks, you
Mm.
know, and during the hurricane and all of these things. So I can tell you, like, my life is like a demonstration of, man, like, what more? What more can happen to somebody? And yet your ass falls down and you're like, all I could do is just give it a moment, shake it off, and do it again, you know?
But Carolina, your life is saying, I am no different than anyone else.
Yeah,
I just made
yeah,
some different decisions.
yeah,
And anyone and everyone can make different decisions. And we can help each other through that.
yes,
That's what
yes,
I'm hearing. That
yeah,
and it sounds like you found your purpose, your calling.
mm-hmm, yeah,
You realize what it was, and because everything you said is like, what can I do to serve?
mm-hmm,
Every question you've asked yourself and has propelled you forward has always been on what can I do to help this person or to serve, that has put you in a place where you then just blossom.
yeah. Where
It's
every
like,
access is for somebody else without the selfish motives. And I truly believe that that's why my practice is so successful. You know, some practitioners, I had a few people here, clinicians of Southwest Florida here at my practice, and we did a community thing. And, you know, people are like, oh my God, I need referrals and I need this and I need that. And I paused and I was like, oh my God, I am so blessed because relationships and open doors out of the pain and the suffering of what I have dealt through in life and relationship building is what people don't realize of the success of what has built my practice is relationships, is not being in isolation, is helping people when I wasn't getting nothing for them. getting, nothing out of helping them, just
Yeah.
doing it, like just doing it. And then this person will connect me to this person, that person, just like us,
Yeah.
our mutual colleague,
Yeah.
she helped me, I helped her, she told me about you. And then these are the things that unfold. Like,
Yes.
how amazing is that? How would have I met this amazing person that is over here sharing other people's stories like yourself and giving other people opportunity and a voice to say and give hope, because you're doing it at all levels, right? You're doing it at, like, I don't even know the full depths of all the things that God has created you with purpose. But here you are. I got connected from just, I don't even know, God divine. And then here you are making the world a better place too by sharing and giving hope to other people that may never come to therapy, but can hear this and go, wow, therapy may not be that bad, or therapy may be something I can try. Or you know what? This
Yeah.
lady that is kind of half crazy, actually, her life is, as imperfect as mine, if not more. So shit, maybe I could, we could partner together. Like, I think that's the beautiful thing of what your gift is. And I
Thank
want
you.
to honor that and thank you
Thank you.
for the opportunities to spread this at different levels that I will never be able to do in such capacities. And you're gifted, and that I think we are gifted, and together we can make this world hopefully a better place by
Yes.
just uniting
I would
and
love
being
that.
grateful, right?
Yes, isn't that amazing? I think if we all united, it would be so great,
Yeah,
and especially sharing our gifts because they don't belong to us. I've
no,
learned that they don't belong to us. No,
yeah,
it's our stories don't belong to us. It's finding purpose, our calling, recognizing it. And I'm very much a faith-based person as well. My
mhm,
faith and my spirit, it moves me. It keeps me centered. It brings me back to centering, right? And I
mhm,
have conversations with God all the time. It's
mhm.
like we sit down and have conversations with coffee. It's
I
like
love it.
right.
One
And
on one.
one
Yeah.
on one, it's the one on one, whether it's with the universe or whatever it is, with
Yeah.
source, spirit, have those one on ones, because I think that that's the part that is necessary for the growth, for the success in the growth, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah.
um and that's just my opinion. And when it comes to being successful, most people think you have $1 million, but they don't understand how many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches you had to eat to get there.
Yes, or rice and beans from a can and a
Oh,
boiled egg. You know what I mean?
definitely.
Or
Yes.
a fried egg with spam. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes. I agree. I just had some of the, I tell you, some of the best beans and rice meals I've ever had is when I didn't have anything other than beans and rice. and
right,
and I
right. You
love,
got your protein, you got your carbs.
yes, and I love cutting up that raw onion and those tomatoes with it
Yes,
as well. Oh man,
yes,
shoots.
yes. And
I'm
that
in heaven.
garlic.
And
I
so
hear you.
I've learned to actually, and so this is something I think that's important. We all go through our own situations where we don't have the income or the money to do certain things. And
Mhm.
when I was struggling financially, and so you have to cut back on many different things. When I looked at food, um, I found out how to eat healthier with less money. And
True.
this may sound crazy, but I actually found out how to eat healthier because I wasn't buying the junk food anymore.
Hmm.
I couldn't afford that. So
Right,
I had to get down to the brass tacks. What are we going to do with these funds
right.
that we have? And beans and rice are really healthy.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
just to
I hear
say.
you. I
Yes.
hear you.
So, and I throw that out there because if anyone's contemplating starting their own business, look at your track record. You started part time while you were still working.
Hmm.
You got out there and were delivering services for free, even
Hmm.
when you first started, before you
Yeah,
started making those connections to get
right.
those contracts, and then volunteering and being connecting with folks. using and understanding how giving back propelled you to move forward and grow and struggling. It's like it's all part of all the failures create the success.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your story, I'm sitting here listening to it and going, this is so amazing. I hope you're going to write a book. I really do. I hope you're going to write a book. And so
Let's
here
see
we
what's
are
to come.
today. Here we are today. You have a nonprofit that's providing services for those that can't afford it. You're working with young people who want to do this work professionally from the college, right? And
Yeah.
bringing them in.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
admirable. Thank you, because not many folks do that.
No, it's not easy, but part of this is what's going to happen to me, which it's so interesting that you say that because you don't even hear yourself sometimes talk because you just give and give and it's just the core of who you are. But what I always say in the future is I got to start investing in these young social workers or this because I'm eventually not going to be here. I don't know when God is going to call me up. So somebody's going to replace me. And I need somebody to understand the heartbeat of this work, which is not a title only, right? I mean, you need schooling, you have to pay your dues, in order to serve people. I believe in quality and care. But the heartbeat is of my practice is what I want to give to the students in the next generation. A lot of people, I hear this a lot, complain, like, oh, this generation's microwavable, blah blah blah, for self-gratification. Okay, sir, ma'am, what are you doing to sit and share the stories of what you have come from? Where are you investing? Take them out to Starbucks and just make connection. We could always point the finger at what the next generation will be or could look like, or we can say, well, I'm either going to complain about the problem, I'm going to be part of the problem, or do I want to be part of the solution? Which is why I have students from FGCU, because I'm going to eventually leave and I need legacy. I need this social work career of what I have fully birthed and delivered and continue to grow. I want somebody else to be able to know that and do it in their own way because nobody's ever going to do you like you do you because that's you, right? But to practice from the heartbeat of servitude, and that's what I have right now. I believe that you have other mentors of people higher than you that have succeeded and are doing it at greater capacities, and I have those. I pay a lot of money to be under leadership sometimes because I could tell you, people charge, right? And then I have my people in the same practices or social work that I'm in community with. And then I bring other students in because at the end of the day, that's what the legacy is when we're gone, what is left out of ourselves, out of our profession, out of our lives is what did we do? Because we take zero with us, Chris. Like none of this is going except the imprint of what you are doing and leaving and changing lives. That is up to us. And you know what? We don't even have a chance sometimes at the beginning. Where our beginnings come from, we don't choose our moms, our dads, our parents, our families, the traumas, the failures, the things. But you know what? We get to choose our end. We get to choose what do we do with that.
Yes.
That's up to us to change the story.
Somewhere along the line, you realize you're in control of your life. And it could be, it doesn't necessarily happen when you're 18 or 21. It could happen at 30 or 50, at 60. But somewhere along the line, I think when you realize this is my life, I'm actually in control of it. I'm not a child anymore. Okay, so mom and dad, whatever those issues were back then.
Right.
Right? I'm in control of this now. So what am I going to do with it?
Yeah. Abandonment, neglect, not being there, moms not being there, Yeah. Sad.
There's so much that happens, right? And I'm a strong supporter or proponent of therapy. I've had my own for years, in different types of therapy. I love it all. It has helped me move forward in my life and to deal with those issues from my past, right? Usually all childhood stuff. almost,
Yeah.
it's always childhood stuff for me.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
healing the inner child because
Yeah.
that little child wants to come out and act crazy
Yeah.
and destroy all the good things that we could do. And gotta
Yeah. Yeah.
calm them down.
I I would say, and I have had amazing therapists, amazing therapists. But listening to you, I was like, where were you when I needed a therapist? I'm like, I would have been, as a creator, I'm a creator, I'm an artist, and I do all kinds of things. I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to go,
Gifted.
I got to go to Carolina. I mean, there's like
Right.
no way I'm not going to Carolina. I
Yeah.
believe in the healing aspects of the arts as well, right? So
Yes.
when you
Oh
pull
God, that's powerful. Yeah.
when you pull that into what you're doing, it was like, oh my goodness, you are breaking ground here in ways that I think is just starting to for folks to just starting to discover.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much for that. Is there anything you want to talk about with regards to? I know you have kids, you're married, you're doing
Yes.
quite well, you have an amazing practice. Is there anything you want to say that you haven't said? Any question that I haven't asked? Is there anything
No.
you'd like to add?
I in this season of my life, I could tell you that part of the growth is being okay with adding and to something.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you this example. So
Mm,
it's okay to be anxious
mm,
and it's okay to be excited,
mm,
right? It's okay to fear
mm,
while it's okay to be hopeful.
mm,
It's okay to not know
mm,
while knowing that there's something greater for you.
mm,
I think the and in life that are two opposites is truly what I want life and most of us to really fully experience because we sometimes are boxed people,
mm,
right? Like I'm either very successful, like all or nothing thinking, right? Like
mm,
everything's going well or nothing is going well,
mm,
or this is a great year or this is going to be a bad year. Like this thing. And I have truly from life experience and from l- just living today is being okay being in the uncertainties of life
mm,
and knowing that you know that you know that you know there is hope
mm,
that this rain or this pain or this darkness or this night is temporary
mm.
and that there may be sun and sunshine and a rainbow at the end of this storm.
Yes. Yes. That's beautiful. Thank you for that. And so, Carolina, there is something that every guest has to do on this show.
Uh-oh.
Yes, here
You
you
want me
go.
to dance? Colombian dance?
That would be great,
Ready?
right? So I always ask our guests if you have to reveal something that no one knows in the public, family and friends can know it, but
Okay.
the public doesn't. So I wanted you to think about, is there something that you can reveal to the viewing public today that no one else knows?
Well, I don't know if this accounts for it. Um, but there's actually many things that I
Okay.
could say. Um, so my daughter's 7 years old. I only have one. I've wanted more, but that may not be on the books. Maybe adoption is in the future. Don't know what that looks like. Don't know. I truly am open to God, but I am getting older. So if God needs to do that, he better do it quickly. Or if it's a different way, he better do it quickly. If not, I just have a lot of children from everybody else that I
Okay.
could take care of, right? And on
Yeah.
Sundays I actually watch the babies at church.
Wow.
Um, so which is so silly. And maybe this, I don't know if this is a reveal, but this goes in two hands. So once a month, I volunteer at my church, and I'm doing it next Sunday. And I watch the babies because I truly, this may be very silly, but I love to give love. And my child is 7 now. Now she talks back. So I love to cuddle once a
Okay.
month. I promise myself to give back to the children's ministry. And I hold these babies and I treat those children as if they're mine. And that may be silly. And then the other thing that comes to mind as like revealing is my daughter is going to this field trip, and I'm gonna go be a chaperone with alligators. I don't know anything about alligator stuff. I didn't definitely, but I'm ready to be hands and feet for the little people in first grade at the Southwest Florida Christian Academy and go volunteer and be with alligators.
All
So
right.
those are my revelations these days. I have not a lot to reveal, but that I love hard and that I take pride in loving other people's babies once a month. And I promise myself to do that at church. And that brings happiness to me. And that I'm going to go do this chaperone thing at with alligators with my daughter's class in first grade. And I don't think that's a lot of revelation, but when I serve at all capacities, I just want to be a kid and I just want to love. And that really is my heart.
That is the
So
most beautiful
I don't know how much
reveal.
revelation I
That
could
is
give you.
that is a beautiful, beautiful reveal with the babies and the alligators with first graders.
I mean, I'm telling you, compassion.
Yes.
Here I am hearing all the stories of all the traumas and death and
Yes.
dying and grief and then I just want to be and hold. Like physical
Yes.
touch is my thing. So I just need to hold some kids and love them and pretend that they're mine and have their parents go enjoy the service and I look forward to that. Once a month. So it's not a lot of revelation, but really, if you didn't know about me, you would be like, really?
That's a beautiful
That's really
revelation.
what I like to do.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. You're an amazing human being. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Very
I
flawed, because I could tell you my husband could say otherwise. But I love hard, I love big, very flawed, but I will own my stuff, ask for
Mhm.
forgiveness, repent. Maybe it'll take me 24 hours, but maybe I can hold the grudge, just saying, not that grudge. But I'm gonna come back and love on you.
Who
Work
could
on
ask
myself.
who could ask for anything better or more than that? That's amazing. Thank you so much. I mean, I wish everyone had that ability to just hold it for 24 hours. And so it's like
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
yeah,
And the love that you grew up with is prevalent in your life every day.
yes.
That's clear. And one thing I've noticed about every guest that's been on my show is that love has been the foundation in their life. It's propelled them in their faith as well. Not between, but with faith and with love.
And you heard that?
And
Practice that.
I'll
And
practice that.
all
Thank
of us, I'm reminded, it's okay, this storm will be for a minute, and there has to be better. And this can only last for so long.
And that's right. And I will definitely add that to my vocabulary and part of my
Yes.
my conversations with myself is the and.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you
it
could be amazing and make some mistakes, Chris.
oh
It's okay.
all the time. All the
Right?
time.
The
Yes.
thing is, we gotta own it and then create a plan to shift, right? Create a plan to shift.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
sometimes we fall many more times than we actually get up, but it's not about how many times we stay down, it's how many times we have the courage.
Thank you for joining Elevate Today with Chris Thompkins. This week, our guest was Carolina Ferrer. Thank you so much for joining. Please like, share for someone you think may need this episode. Subscribe. Come back again next week, 2:30 Pacific Time, 5:30 Eastern Time every Thursday. And until we meet again, let's elevate. Ciao.